Sometimes. Sometimes you probably on tape, but I don't care. Yeah, he loves that. He was in here this morning. I was on the phone. I think it was his talk.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and please remain standing for the invocation by Deacon Pete Shoemaker. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Father of the universe, hear us as we pray to you and ask your blessing on this conclave. Bless the council, the new council members, and the veterans who sit upon that council. May your blessings be with them and give them courage. May your blessings give them vision and insight. May your blessings also challenge them in this year, 2016. That what was done last year is not adequate for this year. You expect from us all, Lord, that each year we will grow. Grow better in thought, mind, and deed, and to be considerate of all who we live with. Continue to bless our township and all who govern here. Continue to bless all people who live here. Enable them to continue to live here in safety, dignity, and allow their families to grow in humility. Thank you, Lord, we pray for all that are here tonight. May it be a productive night for all. We ask this in your precious name, and we all say, amen.
Good evening. This regular meeting of Township Council is being held in accordance with the scheduled meetings of Township Council established and adopted by the Township Council, which schedule designated the time, date, and place of this meeting. Adequate public notice of this meeting has been provided pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act. We're using an electronic amplifying recording device in order to obtain a clear and audible record, and we request all those that are wishing to speak be recognized and state your name and address directly into the microphone. The recording device is to be solely utilized by the Township Clerk's Office for the preparation of minutes and shall be the official record of the Township Council meetings. Madam Clerk, may I have the roll call, please?
Mr. Hutchison.
Present.
Mr. Schmidt.
Present.
Mrs. Stubbs. Present. Mrs. Winters. Present. Mr. Mignone.
Here.
Mrs. Strada. Here. Mr. Mercado.
Present.
Mr. Lechner.
Here.
Chief Earl.
Here.
Mr. Carliner.
Here.
Mr. Cantwell.
Here.
Mr. Cardis.
Here. We have a special presentation for the Highland Boys Cross Country Team. Good evening, everyone. Our former council president, Mr. Bianchini, had asked for Township Council and the Township to recognize the contributions of the Highland Regional Cross Country Team. And Glenn's no longer on council, but we still continued with this tradition of recognizing teams that have done made outstanding contributions, not only to their high school, our community, but also throughout the state. I have a little blurb that was sent over from the coaches of Highland Boys Cross Country team. Our team had another successful season. We were the Conference and South Jersey Group 3 sectional champions. It is the third consecutive South Jersey title. If I'm correct, this is the only team in Highlands history that has received 3 consecutive South Jersey titles. Is that correct, coaches? Okay. Coaches and athletes worked extremely hard and put a lot of time and effort during the summer, which have enabled them to have a successful year. But we've had contributions from all our athletes. But our senior class had 4 incredible 4 years. Jason Leonardo, Zach Zamalonis, Joshua Clark, and Jose Figueroa have only lost 2 times during their 4 years in conference meets and were the first Highland cross country team to win 3 consecutive South Jersey titles. Jose Figueroa, Joshua Clark, and Mike Filippo were first team all group 3 selections, along with Ben Woodward, Jason Leonardo, and Zach Zamalonis. They were all conference athletes. Joshua Clark is also the South Jersey and New Jersey State Runner of the Year. Some of the highlights: they were Group 3 sectional champions. Joshua Clark was the State and South Jersey Runner of the Year, and Coach Wagner was the South Jersey Coach of the Year. I grew up in Swedesboro. I went to Kingsway. Sorry, guys. And I was a football player. So I would see the cross-country guys running, and I would say, what are they going to talk about 20 years from now? I'm going to talk about that tackle or hit the quarterback or something. So, I would see these guys do their 13 miles and train and run. And we were always the last team, the football team, because we had to play the Thanksgiving game. So when we had a 2-7 year my senior year, it's like we're the only ones out here. This stinks. Cross country's done, So in college, I was eating too much Chinese food. So I said, I need to start running. And I started running 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And then I started running 5Ks, and I got bored with that, 10Ks, Broad Street Run, and I started running marathons. It doesn't look it, but I do. Well, my office is located at C.W. Lewis School, and I see these guys running up and down Erie Road, going down to Gloucester Township Park. I live in Valley Brook, running through Valley Brook, and when they see me, they look at me like, all right, old man, keep going. But they run through the summer, the winter, and I see them running, and I see their coach out there with them. And there's certain days like, ooh, I think it's too cold to go out and running, but I see them running, and it motivates me to go out and run. So on behalf of council, if you guys, Coach, can you come up? Coach Wagner, Kowinki, and Mr. Casey, are you here? Okay. And one thing, Coach Wagner, he's pacing these guys. He's not behind. He's not with the oh, Coach Quick. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Well, I see him pacing. Okay. But he's pacing them, and I see him running up and down Erie Road. Coach, you want to add anything, or Coach Wagner?
I would just like to say, he repeated, it's a great 4-year class, and we do everything as a team. Coaches and individuals, we're all one. And to win 3 straight championships, and it's just amazing through hard work. And it started as freshmen, and they got 5th place, and they went on and won and had to repeat. And this year was even tougher because nobody think we could do it again. And we were just a good team, but it's a team. It's coaches, parents, athletes, all as one. So we always have our motto: we win and lose as a team. And we've been very successful over the years, and it's a credit to the young men that work hard right through tradition.
And we appreciate, and it's nice to be recognized. We appreciate the town council recognizing it for us, all the hard work and everything. It's good to be recognized.
We can just read these off. You can come up and we can bring up your athletes. Oh, that's clear. Good.
That's me.
One more thing I would like to say is we have 6 guys that represent the team, but we have about 18, and we have a couple extra here today. But we would have all 18 here, but the 9 young guys are at track meet tonight. Because like we said, we're all about teams. So it doesn't matter if you're the first guy or the 19th guy, we're all about each other. And the only reason they're not here is they're at a novice meet tonight.
So, Jeremiah Clark. Joshua Clark. Jose Figueroa. Mike Filippo. Jason Leonardo. Mike Pinchek is at the meet. Is Will here? Will Samalonis? He's at the meet too. Zach Samalonis. And Benjamin Woodward. And also two guys who are a big contribution to the team. We have Nardine Wise and we have Zach Woodward as well.
Highlands Principal, Miss Petit is here. Miss Petit, do you want to add any words?
I'd just like to say is reiterate kind of what the coaches have said. This is just a fantastic group of young men, and one you can see they dress to impress. So it's no different at school. They're great role models and leaders, and I congratulate on your athletic accomplishment as well as everything else you do for Highland. So thank you.
Normally when we have these presentations at the end of our council, well, we have a little recess, and then at the end of our council meeting, our council colleagues, the council members make a comment and say congratulations to the team, but the team or whoever's being recognized is usually gone. So we'll allow council if they would like to say anything to our members here. I'll start with Dan because he's chomping at the bit over there.
It's difficult for you guys to turn around, and you don't have to. You don't have to. But yeah, you look at these guys and they don't look like they've got muscles popping out of their shirt. But I got to tell you, they're tough. They're tough as nails. Going out on a 5K run, 3.1 miles over hills, you question so much when you're out in the middle of a race. And you have to fight through so many walls of desperation. And I've seen each of these guys run. I've seen them run at Van Cortlandt Park. I've seen them run at Holmdel. I've seen them run a lot. And they're very, very impressive. The fifth man, you guys have you've always produced at that position. And it's been very, very impressive. More specifically to Josh, I was at Van Cortlandt Park on the day that you ran the Meet of Champions, and I was watching my older son run, and I was actually at the finish line at Van Cortlandt Park in the car, and my wife ran from the finish line as soon as my son crossed the finish line to my car, and we probably broke every land speed record getting down to Holmdel from Van Cortlandt. We got stuck in traffic, etc. But I parked at the 1 mile mark, just prior to the 1 mile mark, illegally. Got a ticket, hopped the fence, and I watched you run past me at the 1 mile mark. And you were up in the front, and you were fighting. And then I ran to the tennis courts, and I watched you round the bend after the 2 mile mark. You and the boy from Cherry Hill East, Aaron Groff, and some other spectacular, truly spectacular runners were up there. And you rounded the tennis court, and I just saw a look of determination in your eyes. And I knew you were going to win that race. And the courage that you showed at that very moment, I'll never forget. And he anybody in the audience here can truly appreciate what that means. It's spectacular. And I was so impressed when I went to Van Cortlandt to watch the Northeast Regional. I was waiting at the bridge, and you look through the woods, and you're waiting for people to show. And I forget if you were in second or third place at that point, but I saw the uniform coming through, and I knew at that moment that you were going to qualify for the Nationals. Made me very proud to say that I am a councilman in the town that you run high school in. And the coverage for Foot Locker Nationals was less than spectacular on TV, but it was you did great there. Very impressed, and I wish you the most success, Jose. I've watched you for a long time. You're very, very talented, and all the rest of you guys, you're great runners. That's what I was.
Michelle?
I don't know anything about that, but I can say that he truly was excited because he would come in here on Monday and let us know, what was going on and how everybody did. And he definitely followed you over the last, 2 years or so. I can say that. But congratulations.
I have special ties with this group, as you have gentlemen here who are from Blackwood Elementary School, which I'm principal. And I remember, I see you sitting there all smile. What touches me, I guess, most about this is that these are the things that we don't hear about. These are boys, young men, who are supported by their coaches, obviously by family. I mean, we see very strong, determined young men here, which as an educator touches me deeply. Role models are not always easy to find. And here we have an entire team of role models. I'm sure your principal is quite proud of you for your achievements. I am proud of you. I'm not going to tell the stories about the young Clark brothers, so I won't embarrass them, Mr. Clark. But if you young men have any parents, and I personally know the Clark brothers' parents, and I see parents here that are here to support their children, please continue to strive for excellence. Continue to do your best and be those role models and leaders. We need them. I look forward to Nordine, I can't believe how tall you are. I look forward to reading more about you and your continued successes. Do well, and thank you for being here.
I'd like to congratulate all of you on your endeavors with running. I was never a runner, and I don't think I'll ever start at this point, but I give you a lot of credit for what you do. And Mr. Clark, as Michelle and Dan have both said, when Dan saw you run and came back, that's all we've heard about since that point. So we are very familiar with your running career this year. Congratulations. But congratulations to all of you. I've had the chance to get to know Jason over the last 5 years, and it's such an honor to see how you've grown, and I know how hard you've worked in the last at least 4 years for high school, and I know how hard your parents have worked and how proud they are of you and what you've accomplished. And to all the boys, I know how proud that your families are of you, and continue to do the good work that you do, and continue to be the role models that you are. And it's you all look great tonight. Thank you for dressing up tonight. You look wonderful, and thank you. Congratulations.
Congratulations, gentlemen, coaches, players, runners. It takes a lot to be a champion. You're just not going to step out on that field and win it just by the good looks. It takes a lot of hard work, a lot of practice, a lot of determination. You guys have the heart of champions, and may that carry you for the rest of your lives. Remember these memories. They're special. And believe me, when times get tough, remember this time.
Councilman Schmidt.
Guys, congratulations. Mr. Wagner, how long have you been coaching, assisting, and working with the cross-country team at Highland High School?
25, 30 years.
25, 30 years. Gentlemen, it's his time now. I thank Mr. Wagner for all his dedication, time, sweat, perseverance. We need to give you. In closing, Mr. Micardo, you have indicated that you do a lot of 10Ks and 5Ks and you're with these guys, but their bodies look way different than
Thanks. Congratulations, gentlemen. We have a round of applause for it. We'll take a brief recess.
Good. Happy New Year. Thank
you. Thanks.
Well, everybody's got their here.
Wow, what you're doing is just exemplary. No, thank you. I hear some good stuff throughout the state.
Really?
Oh, yeah. No, you are. And you got to do something different in order to separate ourselves in terms of as a community. What you're doing.
But he went to
Our prayers go out every day. All you're doing is doing creativity. Thank you. It's just superb. We're behind you. We're going to our next ministerial meeting. We may be meeting with you.
Oh, we're trying to get down to family resources.
Yeah.
We're trying to schedule that for a night that they have. So,
Wonderful. Yep.
So, it's like this. We're looking for like this.
But you've got develop that relationship. We all need the church as a benchmark and as a landing zone to bring calm heads, clear heads in tough situations. We're all learning to try to train so just understand what you and we all do. All right, I need your help. Appreciate you.
Thanks a lot.
Good. How are you? President, good to see you. Good seeing
Yeah, that we got. We all got that. Okay, thanks.
Here.
Here.
Present. We're at the first public portion. Anyone wishing to speak on any agenda items, please raise your hand. Mr. Heimball. Please, you can turn that mic around. Just thank you. Thanks, Peter.
Sure. Pete Heimball, Morningstar Court. I have questions on 4 different questions on agenda items. I'm going to start at the bottom and work backwards because the last one might take the longest time to discuss. Resolution 032. Could you describe what the Secure Communities Project is?
So this is a grant that we get from the state of New Jersey. I believe it's $90,000. It's pretty much an entitlement grant. It comes every year. So this is just accepting it.
Okay.
And it goes to offset police salaries.
Okay. So it's a revenue line item on the budget, but is spent on police.
It is a revenue line item, but we discount the amount from the total salaries.
Okay. Resolution 026. That's the township work schedule. I just want to clarify, I assume that excluded from that table with the agenda was that Fridays are continue to be non-working days for the township. Is that correct?
That's correct.
That's correct. Ordinance 04. Is this announcing a 3.5 budget increase, or what does this ordinance? What's the purpose of this ordinance? Are we announcing a 3.5% percent budget increase?
No. There is going to be a hearing. This is the first reading. We can answer in general terms, but which bond, Pete? Was it 01?
No, this is 04.
04?
The coal? Yeah.
We adopt this every year. Most municipalities do. What it does is it allows us to increase for inside the cap line items to 3.5%. What it also does is it allows us to bank cap. You cannot bank cap if you don't have this ordinance in place.
So there's 2 parts of this ordinance: allow you to bank cap and allow you to get the 3.5% spending or budget increase.
For the inside cap line.
Do we know any?
You still have the 2% levy cap.
Well, now that 2% is, once this ordinance passes, is
No, this is the appropriation side. There's still in place separately a 2% levy cap. That stays in effect.
That's in effect.
Right.
So this doesn't mean that you'll be able to
That's correct.
go over the 2% cap on the for the tax levy. Tax levy is still 2%, period.
Right. You may not be able to do 3.5%, in which case you've got to make cuts.
Okay, my last question is on, I'm going to combine Ordinance 01 and 03. Those are the bond ordinances. And specifically the line items for the artificial turf. 01 has a $633,000 line item for artificial turf, and 03 has a $2.1 million line item for artificial turf fields. My first question is, why are they on separate line items? Why do we separate the artificial turf spending?
Well, we'll give it a little time. We'll answer the question. The first one is our capital budget. In our capital budget, that's improvements to our streets, our sidewalks, equipment for public works, some furniture for some of our offices, also additional equipment for the police department. That includes body cameras. That's in there too, correct? Chief, yes. In your capital budget. Anything else? We had 633.
It's $600,000 towards the turf fields. The 32 is the cost of issuance, soft cost, so to speak.
Okay.
And then
in ordinance number 2 with the 1550, 1.5. You want to know why turf fields are listed in there as well?
2 million.
2.1 million on ordinance 03. There's a line item.
Number 3.
Yes.
Tom?
Yeah, it's borrowing $2 million, and the proceeds from the open space tax will go to pay that debt service. It's $2.1 million because you have to come up with 5% down payment, similar to what you do with the regular operating budget and the general obligation bonds.
So this 2.1 million that will be borrowed will be paid via the open space funds in the future 10 years or whatever. Is that the length thing?
Tom had brought at our workshop about 450,000 roughly that will come out of the open space.
11 years, and it'll average about $450,000 of debt when you combine it with the previously issued debt for the hockey rinks, the work at the Kiwanis Field, and the expansion of the recreation building. And so that's a little over half of what we generate in the open space tax.
So how many fields are, there's detailed attachments to this agenda, but they don't really provide details that most people would want to know when it comes to this artificial turf question anyway. Like how many fields are we talking? What's the cost per field?
This is based on an estimate of 2 fields, the bond.
So we're spending 2.7 million to...
Possible.
You're right, that's the estimates at this point.
So they're estimates.
Right.
Pete, that's your time. Do you have any? You can come back up.
I will come back up.
Thank you. Mr. President? Mr. Polidoro.
Yes. I thought that the ordinance had its own separate hearing.
It does. We're going to answer general questions. There is a second hearing.
Good evening, Council. Ray Polidoro. Ariel?
Hi, good evening, Ray.
Just following up on Mr. Heinball's questions. Some time ago, when you first brought up the prospect of spending enormous amounts of money on AstroTurf, as well as the safety features involved in the base of that, I know Mr. Kay came up and offered coconut base and various other things. Mr. Heinball asked if there was a cost analysis done to show whether this was worth it or not. I believe, Mr. Carter, you said that you would have something for him.
I do not have anything at this point, no.
Okay. My question then would be, if we don't have a cost analysis, why do you even have this on the agenda?
We haven't gone out for bid yet.
Right now it's first reading also.
What I'm asking though is if we're figuring on an amount, and I remember you saying 600,000 per field at the time, not you, Mr. Bianchini and council had estimated that would be the case, and we have an estimated number. We're dealing with an estimated number. Don't we have at least an estimated number to do some type of general cost analysis? Is it worth it to even begin the prospect of spending millions of dollars on AstroTurf, which this is just the beginning of, as opposed to what it costs to send Public Works out to drop grass seed down, to drop some dirt and spread the dirt, and various other cleaning. For an estimated $2 million and more, we don't have any cost analysis. At least, what is it costing us today for those fields?
I don't believe the cost-benefit analysis was done on the hockey rink, but that didn't mean that it wasn't the right decision.
I'm glad you brought that up. This council told the public originally that hockey facility was going to cost $800,000. Upon asking several weeks ago, Mr. Bianchini said that project wound up costing the taxpayers $2.9 million, which was supposed to be $800,000. So if we do the same math at $600,000 per field, we can only imagine how much in millions that would be. That was Mr. Bianchini's words, 2.9.
I can't argue the numbers on that. You can say whatever numbers you want to argue. But let me just say this. You brought up cost-benefit analysis with regard to the soccer field, okay? Some people may want to see that. My point in bringing up the hockey rink was to tell you that just because there's no cost-benefit analysis doesn't mean that it's the wrong thing to do. You understand that?
I find that in most taxpayers who run a household, before you buy luxury items, you have your house in order, you have your bills paid, and if it doesn't cost somebody else something, your house is in order, you can go ahead and purchase some luxury items. These are luxury items. Does the township need AstroTurf? And did we do the full analysis of the AstroTurf base to make sure that it's safe for our children? I don't know that we've gone that far.
There's no evidence out there to the contrary. There is none.
And what evidence have you brought forth tonight that proves just that?
Mr. Pettit has gone through several documents. Glenn Bianchini had read several documents. Unless you can show me something that concretely says that stuff causes cancer, which you will not be able to because there is nothing out there that says that.
I didn't say that it caused cancer. I was looking for someone that would have a document proving to the people of the township that it is safe.
You're asking us to prove a negative.
No, I'm asking you to prove that it's safe.
No, that's the same thing, right?
No, not necessarily.
You have something.
I didn't say cancer.
You have something that you can bring to this council to show that it is not healthy for the kids and the students and the athletes. Do you have something with you right now?
Dan, let me say this.
I guess that's enough.
No, let me say this. I'm not one to just gather information from the internet believing it to be truth because, as Mr. Cardis indicated, he mentioned the word cancer. Cancer is what's being talked about on the internet. I didn't bring that up because it is spoken about on the internet.
It was spoken about at this meeting previously by you and by others.
I don't remember.
Estrogenic was used. That was the word that was used in this meeting.
Not a word I would have used.
Go look at it.
Ray, do you have any other questions?
Yeah,
Your time's up.
I believe that before you even begin the first reading of this, I believe the AstroTurf should be tabled until we know more about what it's costing us to maintain the fields now. It's not a bill that the taxpayers should be subjected to right now. This can wait for another time when our house is a little better in order. It shouldn't cost people this much money. It's ridiculous. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Mr. Kolakowski.
Evening, Council. Robert Kolakowski, Lincoln Drive, Glen Oaks. All right.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, too. And congratulations to the new members and to you, Mr. President. One question. Since these turf fields are being paid for by open space funds, if the fields happen to be open and nothing is scheduled there, does that mean anybody can play on it, pick up games, that sort of thing?
We've always, it's Green Acres money, Mr. Carlin, everything that's paid with Green. Now, these clubs or organizations that play on these fields, they normally have first priority on them. But if they're open, as you say,
they still have to, these townships still has the right of scheduling, so they still have to go through the Department of Recreation. But if the field can be in use, if the township is not using it for organized events, it's Green Acres Fund, it's an open field.
So they would have to schedule it first before some kids got together to, play on it, or?
Well, if it's any kind of organized event, yes. But if the kids just want to go on and just pick up game and just, I would think they would have a right to do that, as long as they're not interfering with an organized, scheduled event that's happening.
Okay, thank you.
Is there anyone else? Mr. Heimbaugh.
Mr. McConnell, may I remind you that the primary reason that we set about to do this was because the existing fields could not recover.
Absolutely.
And as such, they would have to be shut down.
They were shut down, signage was put on the field, absolutely.
And they were becoming unsafe.
Thank you.
Pete Heimbaugh, Morningstar Court. Where I left off, this is for two fields. Which two fields are we putting turf on?
Community Park.
Is one of these two the Field of Dreams field?
That was not at this point.
And this cost, does it include all the finishing of it, laying out soccer boundaries, or it'll be ready
the lining of it, absolutely.
Ready to use when this bonding expenditure is done? Okay. The cost benefit analysis we seem to be debating over, that claim was first made by this council, that part of the benefit, part of the reasoning, rationale for doing this is that there be a cost savings, field maintenance cost savings related to installing artificial turf on these fields. That was first mentioned by council, not by anyone at this microphone. When it was mentioned, I did ask for a cost benefit analysis, which should be prepared with millions of dollars expenditure. And at that time, I said it would be prepared and forwarded to me, and that's has never been done. I know we don't have final bid numbers and things like that, but that's not what a cost-benefit analysis is. Cost-benefit analysis is meant to be something you do at the beginning of when you're considering a large expenditure, and you use estimates, and you estimate the benefits and the costs, and you prepare an analysis to see if this is even a worthy thing. You're in the ballpark for this to be a worthy thing to go forward with. And there's nothing stopping it. If you know the township's costs, if you know already have a good estimate of the field, the cost of the field, and you know the current costs the township is expending to maintain fields, the public works is spending to maintain fields, it can be a 30-minute exercise to do a back of the envelope cost-benefit calculation, and that's what we're asking for, something like that. And I think we should get some. I think council should want to see something like that before casting a vote on this. What's stopping for that kind of a cost-benefit analysis from being?
How do you measure the cost of not being able to use the fields?
Well, then leave that out. So you're not going to recapture every penny. I understand that. This is a public.
And being unsafe, because these fields.
You won't be able to assign cost to that. But at least prepare it. Say we're recapturing 30% of the cost because of lower field maintenance, and the rest we're going to absorb because it's a benefit to the community or something like that. This kind of thing should be prepared.
How do you calculate the added value?
Don't calculate that. I just want raw numbers first, and if it's not going to recapture the.
How do you calculate the added value to the community of having a hockey rink at Lakeland? How do you calculate that?
You can't.
Okay. How do you calculate having vibrant sports organizations that utilize these types of fields to a community? I hear so many people complain about negative things about this community. In fact, most of the time.
Dan, we're complaining about our taxes being. We're complaining about taxes being too high and not.
Most of the time from you, Pete.
Yeah, I'm complaining about taxes being too high and not enough.
And that's fine.
And not enough.
We have a difference of opinion, okay? I'm telling you right now, no cost-benefit analysis was done in the hockey rinks. But it is a boon to this town.
Well, this council is the one who made the claim that there was a cost benefit. There was a benefit to
We
this.
spent $100,000 for new playground equipment out here.
Right.
How do I do the cost benefit analysis?
I don't think we did it. I think what we recognized was that there were hazardous conditions out there, and we wanted to replace the equipment out there. Keith, do you recall doing the cost?
I'm not talking about the playground. I'm not talking about the
you have
playground.
hazardous conditions on these fields.
Well, that's not what the claim was made by this council when this subject was first being discussed. The claim was made that there was a field maintenance cost reduction benefit to laying down these artificial turf
This town
fields.
has taken great strides, Pete. Great strides.
Pete, that's your time. There is a second hearing on this at our next meeting.
So you're going forward with that vote today without all the information.
It's on the agenda, and our members of the council will vote on it. Is there anyone else? Mr. Polidoro. And that's our last speaker because it's 15 minutes for our first public portion. Right?
Good evening again, Ray Polidoro, Ariel. Just to follow up on Mr. Quartas' comment, and again, I do remember it being a cost savings for maintaining the field. And you say that these fields are getting ready to be shut down, they're unfit or something to that?
They have been.
Who's responsible for maintaining those fields right now?
Township is.
Which branch of the township is responsible for maintaining those fields?
Public Works.
And why are these fields in such disarray if Public Works is to be maintaining them?
Because they're overplayed. They don't have
Overplayed?
enough time, yes, they don't have enough time to rest. They don't have enough time to regrow the grass. It goes down to the bare dirt. It's overplayed.
Overplay.
Yes.
And that was, we don't have any other fields other than, there are obviously
We're using all of our other fields.
the more premium fields, timber birch fields and what have you, all used.
Listen, reach out to any one of these organizations that are going to be using these fields, and they will tell you these fields get overplayed.
And some of the other townships that have the same conditions that we do, that have used different type of dirt and mass seedings at various seasons. I mean,
a lot of them have artificial fields. They have turf
well,
fields.
here's the thing. We're talking about a soccer, which is a huge sport right now. Mr. Mignon is with the baseball program. And how about when baseball wants to have turf fields? You know, how do we address that?
Communities are doing the same thing. Cherry Hill right now is embarking on a turf project right now as we speak.
Or do we expect...
Voorhees has turf. I believe Washington Township has turf.
What's Stanton has turf?
And that's going to... We're going to justify our cost by comparing ourselves to Cherry Hill?
We're going to kids be able to play.
We're going to be paying the taxes. Cherry Hill will be too then.
Okay, well, children deserve things too.
Of course they do, but when you keep, like I said, this just doesn't seem the time. Our house is not close enough in order. We're in debt up to way up over our eyeballs, and it's going to grow and grow. They're luxury items. They're luxury items.
We're at 1.42% of the average of the assessment. We could be at 3.5.
Tom,
total debt is $80 million.
I mean this in a respectful way to ask this. Did you play outdoor sports?
I did.
Did you play soccer?
No, I played football.
Okay. Do you remember playing on quality fields, or did you fields you played where they beat up?
I played one time on a turf field.
Okay. We've all played on fields that have been just beat to death. It's part of the game.
Hey, talk to the organizations. They're complaining. They can't get their events in. They have to shut the fields down.
There's no skin in the game for them. It's always goes back to the taxpayers. That's what Mr. Heinball's talking about. This may not be the time. When we have the money and we're not so deep in debt, that might be the time.
It's needed for the kids.
No, everything's for the kids. We all want something good for the kids, but it's going to continue to cost us.
Thank you. Tom, I want to qualify your statement about the debt. The debt of $80 million, that's school boards, both school boards, and the township.
That's correct. Ours is
$59 million. All right, we'll close the public portion. Proclamation.
Whereas human trafficking is a borderless crime against individuals that violates the most basic human rights and deprives victims of every shred of personal freedom. And whereas human trafficking occurs when a person is recruited, harbored, obtained, or exported through force, fraud, or coercion for the purpose of sexual or labor exploitation, involuntary servitude, or other types of mental and physical abuse. And whereas human traffickers target impoverished and marginalized children, women, and men, isolating them from society in supportive networks and exploiting them for personal and monetary gain. And whereas the United Nations International Labor Organization has estimated that at least 12.3 million adults and children worldwide are currently in forced labor, bonded labor, or forced prostitution, and it is estimated that more people are now harmed by human trafficking worldwide than have been at any other point in human history. Approximately 80% of the victims are women and girls, and 50% are younger than age 18. And whereas many victims trafficked into the United States do not speak or understand English and are unable to communicate to seek rescue, under U.S. law, any person under 18 involved in a commercial sex industry is considered a human trafficking victim, and victims include U.S. citizens and documented immigrants. And whereas the Township of Gloucester recognizes that New Jersey is a prime location for human trafficking because it is a major national and international transportation corridor and a culturally diverse state. And whereas the Township of Gloucester commends the work of the New Jersey Coalition Against Human Trafficking for its statewide efforts to end human trafficking through education, advocacy, and assistance to survivors, to increase coordination and visibility of New Jersey's commitment to end human trafficking. Now therefore be it proclaimed that on behalf of the Township of Gloucester, I, David Mayer, Mayor of the Township of Gloucester, and I, Orlando Mercado, President of the Township Council of the Township of Gloucester, hereby designated January 11, 2016, and each year as Human Trafficking Awareness Day in the Township of Gloucester, to raise awareness about the signs and consequences of human trafficking, to promote opposition to human trafficking in all of its forms, and to encourage support for the survivors of human trafficking throughout the state of New Jersey and across the world, to put an end to this criminal activity and restore freedom and dignity to its survivors.
Minutes.
Regular minutes. Waive the reading and accept the minutes of regular minutes, September 14th, 28th, October 14th, 26th, November 9th and 23rd, December 14th and 28th. Special meeting minutes, November 9th and December 9th, and executive session, November 9th.
Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. On the question. Roll call. Before we take roll call, Mr. Mignon and Mrs. Stubbs, you were not on council at that time. Mr. Carlman, they should stay for this. Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison.
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt.
Yes.
Mrs. Stubbs.
Abstain.
Mrs. Winters.
Yes, but I abstain on the December 14th meeting.
Mr. Mignon.
abstain.
Mrs. Trotta.
Yes.
Mr. Mercado.
Yes to all except I abstain from the October 26th, the November 9th, I was in the hospital, and December 9th. All right. Ordinances. This is our first reading. We'll have a public portion for our second reading on our meeting on the 25th. First reading, bond ordinance authorizing the acquisition of various pieces of capital equipment and construction and completion of various capital improvements in and for the Township of Gloucester, County of Camden, New Jersey, appropriating the sum of $6,282,404. Therefore, authorizing the issuance of general obligation bonds or bond anticipation notes of the Township of Gloucester, County of Camden, New Jersey, in the aggregate principal amount of up to $5,983,240, making certain determinations and covenants, and authorizing certain related actions in connections with the foregoing. This ordinance is our capital improvement budget, which includes repaving, reconstruction of roads, sidewalks, improvements to our recreational activities, installation of street lighting, improvements to buildings in our township, municipal hall, rec center, public works, the library, additional equipment for public works, additional equipment for the police department, and also equipment for town hall, municipal hall. I entertain a motion.
So moved.
Is there a second? On the question? Roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mrs. Stubbs.
Yes.
Mrs. Winters. Yes. Mr. Mignon.
Yes.
Mrs. Trotta.
Yes.
Mr. Mercado.
Yes. Next ordinance is ordinance 0-16-02. This is the bond ordinance authorizing various improvements to the stormwater drainage system in the Township of Gloucester, County of Camden, appropriating the sum of $1,550,000. Therefore, authorizing the issuance of general obligation bonds or bond anticipation notes of the Township of Gloucester, County of Camden, New Jersey, in the aggregate principal amount of up to $1,550,000, making certain determinations and covenants, and authorizing certain related actions in connections with the foregoing. This bond is for our stormwater improvement, our stormwater management, dealing with replacements of stormwater pipe and head walls at various locations throughout the township. I entertain a motion.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
On the question. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Hutchison.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mrs. Stubbs.
Yes.
Mrs. Winters.
Yes.
Mr. Mignon.
Yes.
Mrs. Trotta.
Yes.
Mr. Mercado.
Yes. Ordinance 0-1603. The bond ordinance authorizing various improvements to recreational facilities in the Township of Gloucester, County of Camden, New Jersey, appropriating the sum of $2,110,000. Therefore, authorizing the issuance of general obligation bonds or bond anticipation notes of the Township of Gloucester, County of Camden, New Jersey, in the aggregate principal amount of up to $2,009,523, making certain determinations and covenants, and authorizing certain related actions in connections with the foregoing. This ordinance is for various improvements to recreational facilities, but not limited to the acquisition and installation of synthetic turf. I entertain a motion.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
On the question. Roll call.
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry, I apologize.
Madam Clerk.
Mr. Hutchison.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mrs. Stubbs.
Yes.
Mrs. Winters. Yes. Mr. Mignon.
Yes.
Mrs. Trotta.
Yes.
Mr. Mercado.
Yes. Ordinance 0-1604. This ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank. It's to exceed our budget appropriation limits and establish a cap bank. This allows us to bank. Correct, Mr. Carter? Yes. I entertain a motion.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second?
On the question. Roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mrs. Stubbs.
Yes.
Mrs. Winters.
Yes.
Mr. Mignon.
Yes.
Mrs. Trotta.
Yes.
Mr. Mercado.
Yes. We now have our resolutions of consent agenda. Any council person that would like to remove any of the agenda items, please speak up. Hearing none, I entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
On the question, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Hutchison.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mrs. Stubbs.
Yes.
Mrs. Winters.
Yes.
Mrs. Strata?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
Yes.
34, resolution adopting a temporary budget for the Township of Gloucester, temporary budget appropriation for 2016.
Tom, can you add to this? This has us running our operations for the first
It
few
does.
months until our budget is passed.
Correct. It allows for basically 25% of last year's budget, and it allows you to run until your budget's adopted.
I entertain a motion.
So moved.
On the question, roll call.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mrs. Stubbs?
Yes.
Mrs. Winters?
Yes.
Mr. Munoz?
Yes.
Mrs. Strata?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
Yes.
35, resolution adopting a temporary capital budget for the Township of Gloucester for 2016.
This provides a temporary capital budget for our sidewalks, street improvements, drainage improvements, traffic signals and lighting, public works, the purchasing of vehicles, miscellaneous office equipment, and also police department equipment. Tommy, anything to add to that?
That's the same principle as the operating budget.
Okay. I entertain a motion.
So moved.
Is there a second? Thank you. On the question. Roll call, please.
Mr. Hutchison?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Mrs. Stubbs?
Yes.
Mrs. Winters? Yes. Mr. Munoz?
Yes.
Mrs. Strata?
Yes.
Mr. Mercado?
Yes. We did receive one GT.gov access email from Dave Johnson at blackhorspikeregionalschooldistrict.org, Apple Ave, Blackwood. His question for council: do you think it's prudent to spend $2.7 million on turf fields at the time, with the township already being $108 million in debt? Don't you feel like the money should be better spent, say, on upkeep of abandoned and empty properties that drag down local property values, just like Mrs. Stubbs stated in her campaign as she ran for council, or possibly repairing some of our poor roads, i.e. Lower Landing Road between Almanesset and Route 42, or building sidewalks on busy roads that have no sidewalks and many residents walk on to get to public transportation? I'll tackle this. First, I'm glad that he reduced his dollar amount of what the turf fields cost, because Mr. Johnson's been telling individuals for months that we approved the $10 million for turf fields, which was incorrect. So we had a discussion regarding our turf fields. We're going on bond ordinance. I have no problem in installing turf fields for our children in our township. Some of our colleagues had mentioned the use of the fields at Highland, particularly at Gloucester Township Community Park. Those fields are beat up. Soccer is no longer just a fall sport. It's a year-round sport. Mrs. Trotter, your son plays soccer year-round. Those fields are beat up. They're closed several times during the course of the year because they need a break. And I know with two of our leagues there, TBAA and Highland, majority of the teams that they play on the road have turf fields. And we're one of the only municipalities that have grass fields. I think it's an investment in our children and in our township. Second, we are not $100 million in debt. The township has $59.2 million in debt in the local schools and regionals. Tom provided me some numbers. You can verify that with the school board, but they're roughly $20.2 million their debt, both local and regional combined. So a total of $79.4 million. The abandoned and empty homes. This is a program that the mayor had started this past year, along with our business administrator who oversees public works, is rehabbing and cleaning properties and placing liens on them. So since August 5th of 2015, they have rehabbed and cleaned 66 properties and liened all of the properties. Now when these, Tom, and if you want to jump in, Dave, when they lien these properties, they lien either the bank holder or the individuals that walked away from that particular property?
Yes, it does not come out of our budget. It's set up as a lien, and when that lien clears, either through the sale of the property or because they redeem it, then we're paid our monies. So we do tack on a percentage of administrative fees on it.
I believe that's the first priority position. In other words, it comes before the mortgage. So when it goes to sale, the first dollars coming in pay this. Am I right about that, Mr. Barber?
Right now we're running 2 crews on that.
Lower Landing Road. Lower Landing Road is a lived in the southern end of town when developments were developed in the southern part of town. Sidewalks, when I guess in the late 70s and 80s, were not included in the southern part of town. One of the things that the planning board has done over the years, when developers came to the planning board, there was money that was put into a sidewalk fund, or sidewalks were asked to be installed. If there's sidewalks, I'll give you an example. There was an opportunity to put sidewalks on in front of Lilly School, correct, Mr. Cantwell, with the school board?
Yes, I think we had submitted for a grant for that.
Yes, and there was oppositions to it because people said that sidewalk would lead to nowhere.
Well, not to the Lilly School,
Yeah.
connected several communities.
And that went nowhere, correct?
I think a grant application was made, but the grant wasn't.
Yeah, but there was opposition to it. And the issue I had to it is that in my day job, I deal with a population that many of these children they don't get driven around or carted around by their parents. They tend to walk throughout the town. And to see a child walking on Sicklerville Road or Williamstown Road, or in this particular case, there was an opportunity that, I don't care if it was 100 feet, if you have a child walking on the sidewalk for 100 feet, at least they're not in peril.
Safe for 100
Absolutely, safe for 100 feet. So there are sidewalk improvements that are listed in our capital budget, and each year we address that throughout the township. Okay. Now we open up our second public portion. Anyone wishing to speak, please raise your hand. Mr. Polidoro.
Good evening again, Ray Polidoro, Ariel. Just a quick question. This may give you something to think about or scratch your head. Maybe Mr. Carlemere. After the last meeting, I had some folks come up to me gauging about the council meetings and wanting to come to some more in the future when the weather gets a little nicer, when they're able to get out. A question came to me that I didn't even think about, and I think I'm going to act on it. I would like to petition council in the township to get access to high-speed internet here at the building. Even though you have the $65 camera up on the wall, there are some systemic problems with that in the live web stream. I have the equipment to be able to put a very quality, high-definition live stream out for over the web. And the only thing that's stopping me from doing that is internet access, and I need high-speed internet to do so. I don't see where it would be a problem for me to be able to access that with whatever public code we can get to do that, and I'd be more than happy to provide that out through a YouTube channel. It would, of course, be unedited and goes out just the way that it's presented, and I'd like to see what the possibilities and probabilities are of that, getting that access to the internet for that purpose of bringing government a little bit better than what we've got here. Coincidentally, when you watch this on the live stream, this half of council's not seen, and sometimes we can't see our other officials here in the township. Basically focuses behind the people and from about that side of Mr. Carter's. Obviously it would be a full shot just the way that it's presented, as you guys have seen some of my videos. I'd like to see if we can do that and how quickly we can get that done.
Do we have Wi-Fi access? But you're looking for high-speed access?
Yes.
So you're not able to jump on our Wi-Fi?
I don't know. I would like to be. I don't know what quality Wi-Fi it is, and I would guess that it's Comcast high-speed internet here in the building. Okay. Well, I would like to get the fastest possible speed to be able to put that out there. And like I said, it's going to be nothing different that's out there. It will be the unedited, no comments, no anything, just to be able to put it out there. There'll be no announcers or reporters or anything like that. Just simply putting out what carries on here. We all know that you guys don't want this on TV. We can offer some of the folks a alternative. Coincidentally, the folks that came to me were all seniors to ask to be able to do that. As they have watched some of the meetings, it's blanked out. The audio's going out, the video's going out, and they don't see all of what's going on. But I'd like to be able to present that in an informative way, and hope you guys will see the manner to which I'd like to put that out and help me to do so.
Can we have somebody check that to make sure that that's operating? The camera. Yeah, the camera. Great. Thanks.
We have high speed. We have Wi-Fi access here.
It's not secure.
I don't know. I'll have to check.
Well, that's.
You can look into that.
I will.
But I'd like your input on that as council members and new council members, how you might feel about that.
Tom, you gonna check on the camera?
Yep.
I have no problem.
If the camera is going to be checked on, the public has access to the meetings. I mean, I know what we have existed and not happy with right now. I don't know if that can be made suitable to support what you'd like to have. I guess since we have that already in place, we can try to improve upon that, what we have. If that doesn't suit, then I guess that's something to discuss.
Yeah, in all honesty, that's terrible. I mean, it's basic. It does what has to be done. It's just there's no quality to it. The angle and what's done. Like I said, these council members here are not seen. Way back into the public is seen. Aiming is the aiming and focus is not the issue. Just something a little more quality, high definition, and a little better color and presentation. So, if who do I see about getting access to the to that high-speed internet?
I'm going to ask Tom to take a look at our Wi-Fi access here. So let me get this right. You're going to stream through our Gloucester Township website.
No. I wouldn't have. I would stream through YouTube. Now has live streaming. You can live stream through
That
YouTube.
camera will be the official camera for streaming for Gloucester Township Council meetings. What you do on your own, I don't have a problem with it.
So long as I can have access to that,
But
that's.
we'll find out about our access.
I'll get in touch with Mr. Cardis.
Yeah, I'm going to look into
That'd be great. Thanks, Tom.
Report back to council on the 25th.
In all honesty, I think you'll be happy with the results. It's quality, and you'll like the appearance. I won't zoom in on too close on anybody. It'll be just what we do.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Is there anyone else? Mr. Kolakowski.
Robert Kolakowski, Lincoln Drive, Glen Oaks. If you pull out your phone and check the Wi-Fi access, the only Gloucester Township identified is GlowTwip, and that's a locked account. It's not an open account. That's the only thing that's there. Sometimes you might get Xfinity leading in off the street, but it's not strong enough to really do anything about. Also, in terms of placement of the camera, was there any reason that the camera couldn't be mounted from the ceiling back there so that the audience could see the entire township council and at least the back of the person speaking with a wide lens, and that way you could get a more better idea of what was going on and who was saying what?
I think one reason, Bob, was because we have our computer located there. Is that there's a computer that's linked to there.
Run a wire.
The camera might have been moved. The other reason was so that it would not
For the
hit
public.
on the speaker.
Speaker.
It was only going to hit just the council. Somebody maybe moved it. I'll have to have people check on it.
I mean, if you see somebody from the back, I mean, it's a public meeting. You come up to speak.
They're still
You wouldn't
there.
want to chill that. I mean, some people don't want the derriere on the.
Because they oriented, you still have the ability to walk up and then they have to turn around and walk back towards the camera.
Let's check the angle. If we can move where it has an entire council. I appreciate it. Okay.
And next, Mr. Cardis, you said, I think you mentioned 3 communities with or installing the artificial turf, Cherry Hill, Voorhees, Washington Township.
There's more than that. I don't know if Evesham has them.
I know West Hampton does. I don't know that Evesham.
The Cherry Hill's in the process right now
Okay, they're in the process.
of awarding a bid.
Do we know how long Voorhees and Washington Township have had the turf down?
I do not know. I have to check with Mr. Pettit, maybe knows. I don't know.
A couple of years, 5 years?
I think Washington Township is at close to 5 years.
Voorhees, I think, is also close to 5.
I just saw something in Monroe Township is heavily pursuing turf fields also.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Is there anyone else? Mr. Heimball.
Pete Heinbaum, 20 Star Court. I had a list of non-agenda questions to ask, but I want to tie some loose ends on the agenda. Can it be requested then that we do present a cost savings estimate for artificial turf for the second reading? I mean, I'm not asking for an action for something that'll pay for this whole 2.7 million. We just should understand, council and residents should just understand the maintenance savings that'll be achieved.
If you get a chance, maybe you can get to that. It's not going to affect my decision on whether or not I'm going to vote in favor of it. It may make you feel better, and I understand that because you're an accountant. Okay. I'm not doing it because of a cost-benefit analysis. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay.
So, I mean, remember, when we're going out there to take care of these fields, we're taking care of the entire complex. And we all know how big Gloucester Township Community Park is. So I don't carve out what we're doing on that one field. I mean, even the use of the water. The water is not going, I'm not going to be able to tie the irrigation into one specific field. That's why this is kind of gray here.
I remember several years ago when we had problems with the community park, and basically had to be shut down. I remember all that. And I remember the GT Stallions playing football over there and having major problems over there. I truly believe, Pete, if we have good facilities, that the children are going to stay off the street. You're going to have a lineup of kids right over here that were here tonight. You're going to have them in soccer. You're going to have them in football. You're going to have less drug problems. That's why I'm voting for this thing. I'm convinced that what we did in Lakeland with regard to the hockey rinks was the right thing to do. Okay? So, Tom, if you get the cost-benefit analysis, if you have a chance to do something like that, I know you're very busy, great. If you don't, I'm all right.
Voorhees has had them in for 10 years now.
Well, thank you. And I'm not doing this because having a piece of paper with analysis makes me feel better. Yeah, I want to save money. I'm looking to, because I want people to say we're going to save money and then be held to that. No, I don't want. I want to save money.
You do. You would have Tom Cardis and the rest of the administration spend every single night for the rest of this year.
Don't tell me what I would want to do.
Yes, you would.
You're not. No.
Ask for that.
I'll move on because I
Tom, if you
totally
got
disagree.
a chance to do it, do it. If not, I'm sorry.
If these fields were individual fields by themselves, standing alone with nothing around them, then I might be able to do it. But to take a project as big as Gloucester Township Community Park and try to carve out what we're specifically spending on these particular fields, because we know there are several fields out there, baseball fields, there's basketball courts. I don't know how to do that.
Why should you put a net on the basketball court? Why do we have the netting? You know, Pete, why do we have the netting? Should we do a cost
this cost savings claim originated from council, and council said they would provide an assessment of the savings. That's where it started. But I'm going to move on, and here's what I'm going to do. Tom, I hear what you said about how you can't carve out. I'm going to rescind my request for a cost saving analysis. Tom said it's not easily doable, so whatever he comes up with will just be kind of fluffy anyway. So
I'm not comfortable with the numbers.
Yeah, so I'm going to withdraw my request.
Fluffy?
Yeah, fluffy.
And honestly, Pete, I don't know what kind of maintenance is involved with turf fields either.
Well, this is what council said originally, that there was cost savings. I'm reacting to that and expected an analysis of that because of what council said months ago, not to make me feel good. Also related to this, a couple times over the years, I've questioned the expenditures that would come out of the open space trust and said they look like just everyday maintenance costs and they should be just public works expenditure, period expenditure items, not coming from a trust. And that was rejected. We never tried to lower that tax or eliminate that open space tax because all we were spending was everyday maintenance costs from that trust. Now I guess we needed to spend that whole $900,000 on everyday maintenance costs. But now that we're going to bite into that with repaying bonds, with principal and interest on bonds, there'll be less available for everyday maintenance expenditures from the open space trust. So how are we recovering this? How are we going to recover this difference that we need?
First, the expenses that you say everyday maintenance costs, those are permitted.
Yes,
at open space.
Definitely permitted.
Okay, so there's nothing that's in your doing anything wrong there.
No.
It's permitted.
Yep.
With the 450, the first year is 200, Dan, you said the number, 200 and something thousand will come out in open space. We bring in what, 900,000?
About 850.
About 850? Yeah. Okay. So we'll take about 450 after the first year, to year 10, and the last year change.
Yeah, the 450 will kick in 2007.
Okay. So that's something that our business administrator and our public works department and any other entities that receive some of that open space money will have to deal with. You want to add to that?
No, we plan on, we know that we're going to have to be limited to around 400,000, and that's what we have to plan on.
I believe people are going to want to move into this town because we're doing some pretty darn good things here. We want to raise the property values. How do you do that? Police, schools, facilities, okay? These facilities are going to attract families, which will then increase the desire for the properties in this town. That's what I'm looking to do.
But we all are, but that doesn't really answer what my question.
Yeah,
but thank you.
It's not your answer, but it's my answer.
Anyone else? Mr. Crone. Sorry about that.
That's good. Good evening, Council. I want to take a break from talking taxes and some other things. First of all, Happy New Year to everyone. Welcome back to our returning council members. Welcome to the new members of council. Mrs. Trotto, congratulations on being the new vice president. It's wonderful to see. Mr. Mercado, you and I disagree politically, philosophically, and morally on many issues, but you are the new president, and congratulations and welcome, Mr. President. Quick question, I have to put it through the president, and it is for Chief Earl. We had the incident in Philadelphia last Thursday where the police officer was attacked and ambushed in a gutless attack. And since then, I think there was an officer shot in New York City. And if I'm not mistaken, there were 2 canines who were killed in that time since Thursday till today. We're living in lawless times. We know these things. Mr. Hutchins brought up the drug problem that New Jersey, unfortunately, is ground zero for the heroin epidemic, and it's a bad thing. My question is, and specifically about canine, to Chief Earl, do we have body armor for our canine officers?
Yes, we do.
Excellent. And the reason I was asking was if the answer was no, I would have been the first person to volunteer to help set up a committee to raise money to make sure that all of our canines were properly armed, because both of the canines that were shot this past weekend did not, unfortunately, have the armor. So I'm glad to hear that. It's important to understand as citizens and elected officials that we do have an adversarial relationship. Not everybody is going to smile and glad hand, and that's the way it's supposed to be. I mean, we all studied history, we all went to high school, and the founders kind of wanted it that way. Mr. Hutchison brought up a valid point about people wanting to move here. I am an example. I chose to live in Gloucester Township. I moved my family some 15 years ago, and we had the opportunity. We chose Gloucester Township, my wife and I, specifically for the schools. We looked at Washington Township, we looked at Voorhees, we looked at many other towns. Now, quite honestly, my daughter wanted to live in Ariel because she thought it was Ariel from The Little Mermaid, but that's, that's 15 years later and she's 20 years old. The reason we did move here, because we believed, my wife and I, and still believe it's a good community. We've been part of the community. We intend to continue to be part of the community, whether it's through being band boosters, being coaches for sports teams, being hockey mom, whatever it happens to be. Those things will happen. Taxpayers are okay with paying for things, with paying taxes when they see that the service comes back to them. The issue comes sometimes when we live in the highest tax state in the entire union and in one of the highest tax counties in the highest tax state. So when you ask to borrow another almost $10 million tonight and have the taxpayers pay for it, you have to understand the reticence. And important things like body cameras for our police officers in the lawless times that we exist. Absolutely. Body armor for a canine. Absolutely. But there has to be a give and take. Need versus want. A 16-year-old son, a typical teenager. Mother and I are trying to teach him need versus want. I want, yeah, everybody wants, but do we need? I think some of the back and forth tonight was based on what do we need versus what do we want. I can see positive changes in my community, our community. I can see negative changes. That's going to happen every day and everywhere. But maybe at the end of the day, we need to analyze a little bit more of how much debt we have, because even we as citizens, if I want to go buy a car, I may want a nicer car than the one I did buy. But sometimes there's a constraint on the citizen and taxpayer that government sometimes forgets that they happen to have. So please be mindful when you're spending $10 million of the people's money. It's not about a back and forth. It's not about a political ideology. It's not about a moral code. It's about we're taxed enough already. The legislature today announced that 2015 was the highest and fastest growing property tax increase in recent history. So when you're asking to borrow a little bit more money, it's tough sometimes. And only a handful of people show up to these meetings, and it's typically the same people. But I ask you nicely, as a member of our community, I chose this community, and there's nothing wrong with being born here, choosing. We all live here. I'm a part of it. Okay? This is my son's jacket. I was the coach, but he was the player. Okay? The kids worked hard. Everybody here is all about the kids. We do everything for our children. What we don't want to do is burden our children with further debt, whether it's the debt nationally, the debt in the state, and our debt locally. So please be mindful of it when you are spending another $10 million. Whether it's $100 million is our debt, $80 million, $59 million, those numbers mean something to someone who's working a second job, who is now part of that segment of the community who isn't even in the labor force. That's all. There's a human factor to it. So I thank you for your time. My time has expired. But again, Happy New Year.
Thank you.
And I wish you all well.
Thank you, Mr. Kolakowski.
Robert Kolakowski, Lincoln Drive, Glen Oaks. Just two quick items. Mr. Cardis, you had said just now Voorhees has had them for 10 years. Were you talking about the turf fields?
Yes.
As I recall at the meetings, the lifespan is about 10 years. Are they looking to replace them at this point?
I don't know. Couldn't tell you.
Okay. And finally, I wasn't able to attend the meetings in November and December because of work. However, I did want to mention I was at the Heroes and Helpers event that the police had in the township at the Target, and I know of a couple of customers who didn't know what was happening, and it was explained to them, and both of them thought it was a great idea. So even the people who weren't involved, just the customers in the store who found out what it was about, thought it was a good idea, and I think it was shown a good light on the police department and on the township as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Seeing none, we'll call the portion. Polling of directors.
Mr. Lechner.
I just wanted to thank council for coming in early tonight. I know it was a last minute thing. We just got the application last Monday, and I wanted to expedite it for the Minehart so we can get them to the planning board meeting tomorrow night. They're going to anxious to get this tenant in the building, so thank you on their behalf.
Thank you, Mr. Lechner.
Chief Earl.
Nothing to report, thank you.
Mr. Carlemere.
Nothing to report.
Mr. Cantwell.
Nothing to report.
Mr. Cardis.
Nothing to report.
Mr. Hutchison.
And that was good government. You did the right thing for taxpayers in town. That's what we're here for.
Thank you.
Thanks very much for coming out.
Mr. Schmidt.
I'd like to thank everyone for coming out this evening, and thank you for your comments. Have a nice evening.
appreciated the comments and how the comments were presented. I think it's very important for everyone to work together and to respect one another. I think is a big factor. And I appreciate the respect that was shown here today. And I hope you feel the same was shown to you.
Mrs. Ventures.
I wish everybody a happy new year.
Mr. Mignone.
Thank you everybody for coming out. As everybody's aware, the entertainment world lost a great singer and entertainer, David Bowie, due to cancer. I'd love to see us find a cure for this thing, number one. Number two, yesterday I was driving home from work, not yesterday, on Friday, and I saw a sign by the outlets, and it said Gloucester Township, join in the excitement. Got me fired up. Thank you.
Mrs. Strato.
Thank you everyone for coming out. Thank you for your opinions. Your points were well taken and I appreciate the comments. And have a good week.
Mr. Mercado.
Thank you for coming out. Again, congratulations to our Highland boys cross country team. You Google them and you see all the articles that have been written about the team and Josh Clark and the fantastic work they do at Highland. So once again, congratulations. Also, on next Monday, January 18th, is Martin Luther King Day. This year, the township is celebrating our 5th annual MLK Day of Service. Last year, we had approximately 450 volunteers for 20 projects throughout the community. This year, we have 25 projects, and we're going to exceed 500 people. So if you have an opportunity to come out, the volunteer activities start at 8:30 and will conclude at noon. So I'll entertain a motion for a roll call. Motion to adjourn. Second. Questions? All in favor? Thank you. Have a good evening. The chief. The council, you got to sign things for a row.